Hello and welcome to the DSR Daily. I'm David Rothkopf. I'm joined by Riley Fessler and Minna Stein. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Just dandy.
Dandy, excellent. Okay, Minna, kick us off.
Widespread protests erupted across Ukraine after President Zelensky approved a controversial law placing anti-corruption agencies under presidential control, sparking public outrage and accusations of undermining democratic reforms. The demonstrations, the largest since Russia's 2022 invasion, reflect growing frustrations with Zelensky's leadership, especially amid ongoing war and corruption concerns. In response, Zelensky promised new legislation to restore the independence of anti-corruption bodies, but critics remain skeptical and tensions between government and society continue to rise.
Yeah, this was a bad move on Zelensky's part. It was tone deaf, either he is the champion of democracy and of a free, well-functioning state, or he's not. He's been a very good wartime leader, a great champion for Ukraine. He's done a lot of good things, and he's vastly outperformed what people expected of him. But this is the kind of thing that undoes support. So too, of course, does the fact that this war is dragging on and it doesn't look like there is a satisfactory conclusion in sight. And so he's in a very tricky political place. And this will be the next big test of his leadership. Either he's going to rise to this, demonstrate that he understands how to lead a frustrated country on a long-term war footing, or he's going to falter and ultimately be replaced. And there are plenty of people there who'd like to replace him. So it's definitely one to watch closely. And I certainly would expect that the Russians and Russian intelligence will be doing all sorts of hanky-panky to try to put pressure on Zelensky from this side. Certainly Ukraine does not need that now. I think it's in the interest of everybody that they find a way to resolve this. Would be a nice thing if the United States government were still pro-democracy and anti-corruption. We could put some influence on them. But the reality is we're now anti-democracy and pro-corruption. So that's a problem. Riley?
Attorney General Pam Bondi is facing Democratic calls to testify before Congress after a report revealed she told President Trump that his name appeared in the Jeffrey Epstein investigation files. The Justice Department, while declining to release the full files, stated that a review found nothing warranting a further investigation or prosecution. Trump's prior associations with Epstein are well documented, though no wrongdoing has been alleged against himself based on the newly referenced documents. Senator Adam Schiff is demanding testimony from Bondi and FBI Director Kash Patel amid continued public scrutiny over Epstein's connections to powerful figures.
Okay. I mean, should she testify? Yes. Should they release the documents? Yes. Will Trump's name be in there? Yes. Will it tell us anything we don't know? Probably not. Is Trump doing more damage to himself covering this up than he would be by opening it up? I think so, because frankly, if he opened it up, I suspect people will go, oh my God, Trump did all these things that we knew he did. So it would probably, take a lot of the air out of this thing. But they keep making wrong moves on this, and it's not going to go away. It's not going to disappear over the course of August. It'll be back there in September when the Congress gets back. Stories like this are going to pop up throughout the period. It was in the Wall Street Journal, as Riley said. It's now been corroborated by multiple sources. Nobody's surprised, but there are other lines. I was listening to Morning Joe, and one of the, commentators that they had on was going, well, there are rumors and speculation, and why would anybody want to see all these documents anyway? I was like, oh my God, this is the new inside line from Trump to protect himself from all this. I might add that he's doing everything he can to distract from it, and I don't think it's on our list of stories, but Donald Trump's going to the Fed today. Why? Because he's going to have a fight with Jerome Powell. For sure, he's going to do something there that's controversial. Why? To distract attention from the Epstein matter. I don't know. I find this a curious chapter in our history. And frankly, when we've got the attorney general saying, whatever the president says is the rule of law in this country, and we've got the government shaking down universities and other institutions, as we're about to talk about, to me, the Epstein thing just doesn't seem as important. If it does damage to the GOP in the midterms, great. But it's certainly getting more attention, I think, than it deserves. And I know there are a lot of you out there who don't agree, can't get enough of it. More power to you. Hope you enjoy it. Minute.
Columbia University has agreed to pay over $221 million in fines and accept federal oversight to settle allegations it failed to protect Jewish students from discrimination, aiming to restore hundreds of millions in frozen federal funding. The deal, part of ongoing pressure from the Trump administration, also includes policy reforms, enhanced campus security, and administrative changes. Despite the agreement, Columbia still faces challenges to its accreditation, which threatens its ability to provide federal financial aid to students.
Look, folks, this is not about anti-Semitism. This is not about DEI. This is about the federal government wanting to control what people study, what is taught, what political bent there is in education. And it's manifested itself in a variety of ways in this administration. The moves against Columbia, University of Virginia, against Harvard, and so forth, against law firms, against media companies. Yesterday, the president signed a number of executive orders having to do with AI. Among those were executive orders saying AI cannot be trained to be woke, cannot make reference to what it called transgenderism, which I think means acknowledging the rightful choices that transgender people are making. This is violating the First Amendment. It's violating the core principles of the government. And I, as somebody who's taught at Columbia, who attended Columbia, whose great grandpa went to Columbia, whose grandpa went to Columbia, whose parents went to Columbia, whose kids have gone to Columbia, I'm ashamed of the university. I don't think this was the right thing to do. I don't think that this settlement, or acknowledging, that some of the elements of this settlement were appropriate, and perhaps I'll write more about it later someplace else. But we need to move on to our next story, Riley.
United Health has publicly acknowledged for the first time that it is under criminal and civil investigation by the U.S. Department of Justice over its Medicare practices and is cooperating with the probes. The investigations reportedly focus on whether the company inflated payments by recording diagnoses that generate higher reimbursements, according to former employee interviews cited by the Wall Street Journal. Despite the scrutiny, United Health maintains confidence in its operations, citing favorable audit results and a court finding no evidence of wrongdoing in a related civil case. The company has also launched its own third-party reviews of its Medicare and pharmacy practices, while its stock has dropped over 40% this year amid broader concerns.
Will the Justice Department keep going on this thing? Is this the kind of thing that they want to do right now? Or how will they dovetail what they do with their political objectives with regard to Medicare and Medicaid? I think it's going to be interesting to watch. Certainly, I am not surprised that United Healthcare has run afoul of the law. These big healthcare insurance companies are are responsible for a lot of pain in America. And a lot of it has to do with them playing fast and loose with the law in order to increase their bottom line. And so this is a space to watch because, once again, it's an area where the administration has an agenda. And they tend to use the law here to advance their political objectives. Minna.
A federal appeals court ruled that President Trump's executive order restricting birthright citizenship remains blocked nationwide, citing the need to fully protect Democratic-led states challenging the policy. The Ninth Circuit found that a narrower injunction would not prevent harm to states like Washington and Oregon, which argued that people affected by the order could move across state lines and disrupt healthcare and welfare programs. The decision follows a recent Supreme Court ruling limiting nationwide injunctions, but allows exceptions like this one, where full relief for the plaintiffs requires broader enforcement.
Yeah, well, let's see how the Supreme Court treats this. They tend to bend the law one way or another to suit the objectives of the administration. I don't know how they bend the words of the Constitution on birthright citizenship. It's pretty explicit. I don't know any legal experts who think ultimately they're going to be able to undo birthright citizenship by court shenanigans. I think most people think that what the objective of the administration is to throw this into some chaos, to open it up, as they have done with the Supreme Court, where it's not clear what policies are from state to state. And it gives them a chance to round people up on, questionable grounds and send them out of the country before anything can be done about it. Again, their favorite place in the law is the gray area, where a final decision is not reached, but they are not enjoined from doing things that are clearly illegal. That's the story of the next 3 years in this country, is the administration taking advantage of gray areas that are in the law or gray areas that are created by procedural and other decisions from the Supreme Court of the United States or other courts or interpretations of the Justice Department that don't get challenged. So we'll watch this one closely. A lot happens. It used to be, as Dahlia Lithwick said on the podcast she appeared in last week, that Supreme Court reporters could take the summer off. So much happens on the shadow docket that you can't do that anymore. It's a place where there's less transparency and increasingly important decisions are being made. Will we follow it? Yes, we will. Do we have other great podcasts coming up for you? Yes, we do. Yesterday, we did an excellent podcast of the old gang on Deep State Radio, talking about, where real threats lie within our system and whether, the people who are supposed to be tracking those threats are actually doing it or are up to it. The ship of state is a ship of fools, as we asserted during the podcast. We have our Thursday Words Matter podcast with Norm Ornstein coming up. We did a great Cell Consciousness earlier this week. We're recording another one today, but that'll come up early next week. Excellent. But that one is going to look at the AI speech and EOs that the president did yesterday. So watch early next week for that one, because I think it's going to be important. And of course, DSR Daily, the Daily Blast. And if you want to support what we're doing, do it. Go, do it. Go to membership, sign up, give up one latte a month. Or if you can afford the little bit extra a month, go ahead and afford it. It helps us a lot. And I know you've thought about it. This is the time to do it. We're going into the fall. There's going to be a lot of huge stories. And what you want is independent expert opinions. And where you get independent expert opinions is right here at the DSR Network. So until you join us for whichever of those you join us for. Thank you very much. Thank you, Minna. Thank you, Riley. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.